Hey there, it's Davi, and today we're going to talk about ankle and knee alignment, and specifically ankle strengthening exercises that will help you to build the strength in your ankle, that will help support the whole foundation, the whole structure, because your body puts all of its weight through the ankle into the ground. And there's a healthy way to do this, and there's a way to do this where through misalignment it can cause pain and long-term challenges in the ankle, and also repercussions moving up the body through misalignments of the hips that causes misalignment of the spine that can cause pain even in the neck and shoulders. So ankle alignment is super important, and I'm going to show you a couple of things that will help you to see why it is important. So here I'm standing with my feet pointing straight forward directly beneath my hips. When I bend my knees, the knees track directly forward over the feet. This is important for the entire leg and hip structure to operate with the best alignment. Now, I will show you what happens when the feet open and the knees still bend straight. You can see the feet are collapsing. The arch is collapsing. If I have a closer look at one of these feet, what you'll see is that there is compression here on the outside of the foot. From the side, you can also see that as the knees bend, my hips are lowering straight down. If I take a step and I place my foot down with the ball of the foot touching first, I then have the ability to take weight into this first joint of the foot, and as I move forward, I allow the back knee to bend, and so the heel can come off the ground, and it moves me forward. Here is a closer look at the feet. They can collapse in. There's also a pattern where they can be bearing weight more on the outside, potentially pigeon-toed in with the knees pushing out to the outsides. This is also a problem. What we want is good alignment, straight forward. So now for the actual ankle strengthening, you'll notice I'm sitting. I have my knee, my ankle in a straight line. I have the knee bent so that I have the ability to reach easily the foot. What I'm doing now is I'm going to keep the ankle in its central alignment. I'm going to invert. This is the way that most people sprain their ankle. It's called an inversion sprain, which would overstretch or tear the ligaments on the outside of the ankle. Now, I put the ankle into inversion, and now I'm going to hold it there while I try to move it from this position. I'm trying to bring it back to the middle, and I'm going to very slowly allow it to move back and to even come all the way to a position of eversion. Here's neutral, here's eversion. It's a small movement. Most people don't have a lot of movement in this range, but it will activate a chain of muscles all the way up the outside of the leg here. Now that the ankle is in this eversion, I'm going to hold it here. I put pressure on the bottom here, and with my thumb I'm putting pressure on the top here. You see the position is just there. And now I'm going to try my absolute hardest to bring the foot back to its inversion, to the opposite position. I'm moving it. And as I do this, I feel that there are muscles activating all through here on the inside of the leg. and that there are also muscles that draw the heel on the other side down, activate in the back of the leg. So I'm holding it in eversion, and I'm trying to bring it to inversion. And I can do this a few times, a couple of repetitions. Notice my toes want to participate, and that's interesting. It's not, strictly speaking, necessary. There are other exercises to do to isolate the muscles in this toe, the ability to make this little pinky toe just move on its own. So I'll do this a few times, and then I'll switch. I'll push the ankle into its inverted state, and I'll try to bring it back to eversion. And this is tiring. So that's inversion and eversion. Now, there's also dorsal flexion and plantar flexion. Dorsal flexion, plantar flexion. And I'll do the same thing. I will bring the ankle into dorsal flexion, I'll hold it here, and then I'll try my very best to bring it to plantar flexion. Now, you can do this exercise with your toes curled up or with your toes flexed out, and you will be getting a different feeling when the toes are open like this versus when the toes are curled up like this. Slightly different muscles will activate. You might feel a cramp coming on in the bottom of the foot, in which case you want to just massage yourself out a little bit. And then I'll do the opposite. I'll push the ankle as far as it will go to a point, and I'll put my hands on top of it here, and then I'll move the ankle through resistance back into dorsal flexion, upward flexion. I'm turning the muscle on, and I'm turning it slowly off. The other thing I can do is I can turn the muscle on as much as possible, and then I let the hands soften a little bit. And then I push with the hands, and the muscle resists. So there's different types of activation where I can keep the activation in the foot constant, and I can lessen and increase the amount that I'm pushing with the hands. And then I can also keep the hands really solid, and I can play with how much I'm going to initiate from the ankle. So this is the second range of motion, the dorsal and plantar flexion. And then finally, your ankle also has the ability, if I hold the ankle really solid here, it can wave side to side. You know, it can just, it looks like this from straight on. And these are different muscles. So to do this one, I'm going to see what the range of motion is that I have, and then I'm going to hold it in place, and I'm going to try to bring it back the other way, and just be solid here and do repetitions. I'm also holding the leg here to make sure I'm not using the leg. I'm really isolating the ankle. Turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, on, off, on, off. I'm sweating from this. This is hard work. And then the opposite. You see how far it'll go. Hold it on one side and bring it to the other side. And I feel a huge activation up here that's already getting tired. So those are the sort of three different types of movement that your ankle can do. You can go forward and backward, you can go side to side, and it can also do this inversion, eversion thing. We can also practice strengthening those ranges of motion in combination with each other. So we can, for example, do a dorsal flexion and an eversion at the same time, and I'll do a plantar flexion and an inversion, and then I'll put my hand here and my hand here to provide resistance, and I will bring it back and evert at the same time. And this is a huge strengthening exercise. I can also add a little bit of lateral to the outside flexion at the ankle. So this is all three ranges of motion. So we have 1, we have 2, and we have 3. So 1, 2, 3. You can think of 1, 2, 3. They're all small. There's very small movements, but very important to strengthen. You can be creative with your hand placement. Where exactly are you going to put it? You will know when you are building the strength because you will get tired very quickly. That is how to strengthen your ankle. I hope that you will do it.